The Book for People Who Do Too Much by Trevor Grieve. Do you feel pooped? Do you occasionally get piercing headaches behind your right eye? Do you bore your friends to death by going on and on and on about how much work you have to do? And have you been so rushed or run down that your personal grooming and general appearance have deteriorated to the point where your friends politely avert their eyes when you enter a room? The good news is there are only two possible explanations for these alarming symptoms. You have contracted a horrific mystery disease for which there is no possible cure. Or, and this is only marginally better, you are one of those people who are simply doing way too much. Doing too much has always been a serious problem. It's no coincidence that most heart attacks occur at 9 a.m. on Monday morning. So much for the masochistic maxim, hard work never killed anyone. Excessive endeavor has always been known to cause premature hair loss and commonly induces explosive indigestion along with other painful disorders that prevent the sufferer from sitting cross-legged or wearing fashionable vinyl clothes. Pants. Yeah. Some highly motivated people of questionable intelligence deliberately do too much, but most of us gradually end up in this situation without even knowing how we got there. One day, no matter how hard you try, you can't get through everything you wanted to accomplish without working well into the night. The fact is that even the most polite, unassuming, timid little creature can, after a few nights without adequate sleep, become an absolute monster. Little things soon start to drive you crazy, and you suddenly turn on people who don't deserve it. Simple tasks get way out of hand as mix-ups and mess-ups start to multiply. It becomes a huge mental struggle to haul yourself through to the weekend, looking forward to nothing more than just collapsing in a heap, too tired to dream. When we do run headlong slam bang into the invisible barrier that is genuine exhaustion of body and soul, the smart thing to do is stop and revive. However, some folks will try any quick fix available to keep on trucking. Most start with a refreshing beverage loaded with sugar and caffeine, or for the more discerning palate, a cup of expensive herbal tea. When the short-term value of these pick-me-ups is fully spent, they may try alternative remedies such as invigorating scalp massage, extreme jacuzzi, and eye-watering pungent aromatherapy. As fatigue increases, newer and more powerful kickstarts will be required to maintain forward momentum. Some desperate individuals even turn to medicinal supplements, legal and otherwise, to fire up their failing systems. This actually works wonders, although the effect can best be described as the lights are on, but nobody's home. Exotic pills and potions may relieve your desire for rest, but they will not remove your genuine need for rest. The battle that rages within can seriously scramble your brain. And in extreme cases, your head will explode. Fascinating though such oddly destructive behavior is, more interesting still is the fundamental question behind it all. Why do people do too much? The obvious answer is because there's so much to do. If you haven't noticed, there's a lot going on in the modern world. In the midst of it all, we are driven by a few typical human motivations. For starters, we all want to live well. It's only natural to desire some of the finer things in life for ourselves and those we care about. We also want to leave our mark on the world. We want to know that our life matters, that we make a difference somehow. Perhaps the most powerful motivation is that we want to be liked for who we truly are. In fact, whether we admit it or not, being liked is incredibly important to just about everybody. Thus, even if someone wants us to do something that seriously puts our nose out of joint, most of the time we just offer a painful weak smile and mumble, "Of course, I'd be delighted." Before you know it, you're knee deep in someone else's dirty laundry. You're babysitting for the third weekend in a row. And you've become a 24-hour taxi service for family, friends, colleagues, and neighbors. We know in our hearts that the greatest reward in life comes from giving the greatest service to the greatest number of people. We also know that if we don't get a move on, we will soon be left behind. If that happens, we won't be able to provide our loved ones with much of anything. Together, these somewhat conflicting attitudes drive us to get to the front of the line and stay there by whatever means necessary. Day in and day out, we tirelessly sniff out opportunities to get ahead, scrambling into position to claim what's ours. And then it happens. Suddenly, you're in the right place at the right time, and it pays off in a big way. Or does it? Failure plays a part in every great success story, but not everyone can appreciate this. Foremost on our minds is the humiliation of defeat. No one wants to look like a loser. The pressure is then increased to not only keep our eyes on the ball at all times, which is stressful enough, but we all want to look successful, no matter what. Keeping up appearances can easily become an exhausting full-time job in itself. Once you become obsessed with superficial symbol of success, you tend to need more and more of them. The world soon becomes a giant mail-order catalog. I want a bigger house filled with the newest new things and the oldest antiques. To get this stuff, you must obey the creepy inner voice that says, "Work harder, work longer, do more, earn more, have more, be more." Pretty soon, you're eating high energy snacks on the run. Sitting down for meals becomes a thing of the past. You think about your responsibilities, schedules, and objectives constantly. In fact, you can't stop thinking about them no matter how hard you try. Even when you finally fall asleep, your mind keeps turning over and over and over. You know that a system that rewards committed self-destruction will eventually chew you up and spit you out. But you still won't slow down because You are absolutely certain that if you take your foot off the accelerator for even a moment, everything and everyone around you will immediately grind to a halt. To make matters worse, the competition is always right on your tail and drawing closer by the minute. You'll have to lift your knees rather rapidly if you want to keep them a safe distance behind you. It's enough to make you attempt the impossible, which, believe it or not, actually turns out to be impossible. Before you know it, you're going down in the worst way. You're overwhelmed, and you know it. At this point, you'll notice two distinctly different attitudes among those around you. Some people will rub their greasy little mittens together with glee. Your demise represents an exciting opportunity for them. Your true friends sense an opportunity too. A chance to finally say, "Whoa, slow down, take a breather," and decide what your health and happiness are really worth. A few people listen to this and change for the better, but most don't. Some even feel angry with their friends and family for trying to help. They feel they are being held back, and if they could just be left alone to get the job done, it would be a whole lot better for all concerned. Our admiration of heroic individual endeavor is based on some pretty inspiring precedents. Going solo and pushing through fatigue in extreme situations have saved lives and changed the course of history. But the belief that imitating this noble behavior is necessary to get ahead in normal life or survive another day at the office is not remotely courageous. It's actually kind of stupid. Even if such ruthless focus gets you across the finish line first, you won't be able to enjoy the moment if there's no one to reflect your joy or celebrate with you. A world without hugs is not a place you want to be. There are many so-called successful people in this sad situation. They have everything they ever wanted, yet somehow it's not nearly enough. And a strange, unfillable emptiness develops deep inside their heart. Their personal lives may appear fine to onlookers, but they suffer badly. What once were fulfilling relationships become artificial routines. Real passion fled the scene long ago. It's such a shame. The only way to avoid this situation is to say no to the hundreds of requests and demands that are more than you can handle or, frankly, aren't worth a generous slice of the one lifetime you have been given. Most people just can't do this. As soon as someone asks for a favor, they automatically say yes. They think it's a sign of strength and affection to respond with a confident, "Sure, no problem." In fact, it's really a sign of weakness that will ultimately damage your friendships. They are only setting themselves up to let someone down, and conversely, they'll eventually resent their friends for burdening them in the first place. Both parties soon start to question the foundations of the relationship. So, when someone special turns up with a request or an opportunity they think is perfect for you, and you get that sinking feeling as you prepare to agree to whatever they want, pause and slowly fill your lungs with heartfelt honesty. Then say, hey, you matter to me, and I want to do the right thing. But if I take this on, I will have to sacrifice something else. So please tell me, how important is this really? Take some time to consider the ramifications of your various options. Don't be rushed into anything. And if you don't feel good about it, be prepared to communicate this with gentle clarity. To a close friend, you might say, I'm so sorry, I feel terrible, but I'm just too busy to do this justice. So for now, I'll have to say no. For people who just don't appreciate your time, you may need something a little stronger, such as, look, I'm already so overcommitted that I couldn't take this on without growing 4 more arms, a third leg, and a second head. To be honest, I've got enough fashion challenges as it is. Finally, for serial pests, there is a foolproof cavalcade of no's, which goes something like no, 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 thank you very much. Have a nice day. This is particularly effective when delivered in a classical operatic style. The bottom line is that people who do too much end up doing too little of what really matters. They spend their lives buzzing from one tiring and trivial task to another instead of living their dreams. In the end, it all comes down to priorities, which sounds complicated but really isn't. Life priorities are as basic as understanding that if you use up all your precious time and creative energy doing one thing, you won't have much left for anything else. Obviously, then, it makes sense to focus your time and energy on those things that really make you feel ecstatic, or at least happy, to be alive. Don't take someone else's word for what those things should be. Follow your heart to the source of that which refreshes your soul and drink deeply from it. If you do this, your world will become a lot bigger and your problems will seem significantly smaller. You will finally be able to lighten up and take a load off without feeling guilty or anxious. Take some time to appreciate the inner beauty and purpose that is often forgotten in the rush hour frenzy. Watch the stress lines fade. And enjoy the kind of peaceful sleep that you haven't experienced for a very, very long time. Pretty soon, you'll feel a tingle from your nose to your toes as you start to revive. And when you get the spring back into your step, launch yourself into all the things you've been putting off for all the wrong reasons. Rediscover the simple pleasures you have been too busy or too self-absorbed to enjoy. Start by making room in your life for a puppy. Learn to navigate by the stars. Revive the lost art of conversation. Practice your kissing. And bathe in the innocent bliss of daydreams. Just choose to do the things that make you the sort of person you really want to hang out with. It's a pleasant surprise for most people to discover that everything tastes better, your friends are more fun, the sky is bluer, and the ones you love are even more beautiful. When you feel great about yourself. If you can just say no with polite, unshakable conviction to anything or anyone that would ultimately take away from all that you are, but still maintain your compassion and understanding for those who genuinely need your strength and friendship, then you can look out upon a universe of wonders waiting to be discovered and enjoyed by you and those dearest to your heart. And say, yes. The end.